If you don't think male privilege exists, you are wrong.
Gender bias is often ignored because it seems invisible and subjective to those who benefit from it. But trans men have experienced both sides of the gender-divided society, so I'm going to let them explain male privilege in their own words.
Male privilege is the bullshit idea that men are better than anybody else.
Male privilege is the ability to move about the world in the way that you want to.
It's the experience of being left alone and free to be yourself.
Privilege is also like the absence of experience. As a man, I have the privilege of getting on New York City subway train at 1 in the morning and don't have to worry about a man wagging his dick at me. That is a male privilege that I like.
The first time I noticed I had male privilege was when I was walking home from hanging out with a bunch of friends who happened to be women. They had expressed being a little worried about walking home in the dark, and while I was walking, I realized that I had no worry in the world about being talked to or stared at or followed or assaulted.
So a man could just walk down the street and no one is going to bother him, no one's going to ask him to smile, no one's going to ask him where he's going, no one's going to ask him if he's married, no one's going to ask him if they can walk with him, but this is something that I know women experience every day.
Post-transition life, my God, walking down the street is so glorious. I can actually think.
First time I ever experienced male privilege was on social media. I've always been the type to express myself and talk real crazy. And when I did it prior to transitioning, it wasn't okay. But the minute that I transitioned and everybody looked at me as that male figure, it was like, oh man, that's hilarious. I'm like, hey guy, I've been hilarious all this time, so what are you talking about?
An unexpected aspect of male privilege for me was being taken way more seriously than I was before, and it's funny because I have all the same ideas, still thinking about the same things, and yet sometimes I would literally just be talked over or laughed at. Now people will often quiet down.
And having experienced that from both sides of the spectrum, as female and male, I call bullshit on that right now.
Male privilege and sexism isn't just a problem for women, but it's also about liberating ourselves. Masculinity is very diverse. Masculinity is what it is to you. You don't have to be a brute. You don't have to be an athlete. And my masculinity looks like a man who likes puppies and babies. And there's nothing wrong with that.
I was in the club this night, and my brothers are around. I think it might have been Single Ladies. Something came on, and I'm like, oh, Single Ladies. And they go, you're a man now. Men don't wild out to Beyonce like that. And I said, but it's music.
There's no one way to be a man. There's a spectrum of masculinity, and just like, be chill.
If a guy wants to really understand male privilege and understand what it is, talk to women.
Step back, listen to what other people are going through, ask them what they're going through, and I think you'll see that the world doesn't run exactly the way you think it does.
You're doing nothing wrong by having privilege. It's just what you do with it that matters.
I'd like to thank all of our guests for giving their time and thoughts on this issue. We'll see you next time.
You know what else is male privilege? We actually have a bunch of men having to talk about what male privilege is, even though women have been talking about this for years. We ain't